Okay, we're going to start right on the top of Kuf Mem Vav, exactly at the top of the page. Okay, first of all, thank Hashem that you're able to learn Torah every day. We're learning and we're learning the Nishmas of the Basra Daf and also for Shlema, Rav and David Ben Sarah. Dali gets So we were going through this pasuk of Tevleid Mishnah Tamid, Kol Yimei Ani Raim, rolling right on the top, mamish the top word of the page. Rabbi Shua ben Levi, Kol Yimei Ani Raim. What do you mean? All the days? I'm sorry? Yeah. What do you mean all the days of the poor are terrible? So what do you say? Because Shabbos V'yam Tayvim. You see, they would give out packages, right, for the poor, like they do today. The Shemer Shabbos, whatever the things they give out. Even the poor people, Friday night they sit over there with gefilte fish and everything, like a regular person. That's part of our the beauty of our community, right? So Vika Shabbos V'yam Tevim. Gemara says, well, Kiddush Shmuel, you have to take into account also what Shmuel says. The Shmuel Shini Veses Tchilas Chayli. That it's not good for them. They can't just eat fancy food in the whole week. They're eating bread, and now all of a sudden they're getting like fatty meat. So Shini Veses, when you change your habits, that's the beginning of illness. Okay, Sefer Ben Sira, written in the book of Ben Sira. Well, Ben Sira, the Gemara says, the Gemara quotes Ben Sira a lot. Well, not a lot, 10 times probably. And the Gemara also says that someone that reads Sefer Ben Sira loses his chelak b'olam haba, right? K'ayir b'sfarim chitzanim, that's the Gemara Sanhedrin. But it could be that there was two Sefer Ben Siras, and that would explain it. Well, whatever the case is, it says over there. It says Kol Yimei in Mishlei. It's Mishlei. No, in Kehelis it says Kol Yimei. I'm sorry. It's in Mishlei. Kol Yimei Ani Roim. But which means the days. But Ben Sira says Afleilas. Ben Sira, he wrote also wise sayings. It says even the nights are bad. So what's the explanation for that? So the explanation is, the Gemara says, because the Shafal Gagim Gagai, Mitar Gagim Lagagai. That means is that his roof is below everyone else's roof. So all the rain that drips off from everyone else's roof goes onto his roof. And he ends up with all the drips going into his house. Barum Harim Karmai. His vineyard is on the highest of the mountains, which means when the topsoil falls off, it flows off, right? It flows off. His topsoil ends up going into everyone else's fields. He ends up losing that. Me'afra Karmai Lekramim, from the soil of his vineyard goes into everyone else's. So the rich get richer, as it says.
Is this mean literally, or it's a moshel or something?
Both. Yeah. If you ever read that the Mittler Rebbe's introduction to Derech Chaim, writes over there how the poor person, even if he realizes his situation, he like bursts into tears just when he thinks about it. Situation. It's talking about tshuva, and that was like an example, but that was the. Okay, we have a new Mishnah here. Hashileach sivleinais lebeis chamav. This is someone that's betrothed, and he's sending gifts to his kala. So he sends the gifts to his, the kala is still living in her parents' house. So he sends gifts. Talking about gifts that are edible. which mean they'll be used up. It doesn't have to be literally edible. It could also be the type of clothing that gets worn out, like those stockings that they or whatever. It's the stuff that it's not going to last. Oh, really? It could be. It could be. It goes under the same thing. I think so. So the rule is like this. Shalach shem meyamana. Let's say he sent massive, huge gift. Meyamana. It's 100 times 100. Yeah, of zuzim, a large amount. Bachal sham sudas chasan. And he went over there to his in-laws, and he enjoyed from the meal over there. Afilu b'dinar, even if he only ate like one piece of sushi, 1 dinar. So ain't any government. It's too late. The fact is that he sent the gifts and he already enjoyed it from them. So that means that's it. He took his part and that's it. It's over. He can't get it back, even if decides to annul can't just annul it. You would have to get a get and all of that. But nevertheless, he doesn't get that back. Let's say he just sent it, but he didn't eat there. You can say, change my mind. I'm calling off the betrothal. I mean, he can take back all the lox and cream cheese or whatever else he sent, and he can take it back. Well, Shalach Savlinus Meruvim Shiachsarim Alabespile. If he sent the Gemara says that the Rashbam says that that this doesn't have to be a large present. The main thing is the idea is that he sent her a present with the intention that she should bring this with her. Doesn't mean that they should bring the gifts with her. What does it say then? They should bring the gifts with her to the new house, to her husband's house. So Harel in the government. That means that he wasn't just giving them to keep in the in-laws' house. He wants them to come with her. So then, if he changes his mind about the whole shidduch, so he takes it back. Sivlinus Moatim. Let's say he sends small gifts, things that to keep for the in-laws' house. So ain't in the government, he doesn't get them back. Yeah. Just this. Okay. Amar Rava comes along and tells us, Mishnah said this already, but Rava spells it out. Rava says, Dafka dinar. When you said that he's not able to get the food that he had given as a gift, he can't take it back if he ate there. So it's like they already celebrated this food, and now that's it. Can't take it back. That's dafka dinar. That's only if he ate the amount of a dinar. A piece of sushi. I don't know. Whatever a dinar is. Let's figure that out. A dinar is this. It's a significant amount of money. It's not a little thing. Yeah, shava pruta would be nothing. This is how many prutas are in a dinar. Does it say 48 or something? A bunch. There's a bunch of prutas in the dinar. Okay. Abel pachas mi dinar, but if he ate less than a dinar, then he can't come. He can't. Not he can't. It doesn't. Then he can still get back the gifts that he had given, all those presents, all those food items. He can still get it back because he didn't eat a dinar's worth. Pshita, it's obvious. Dinar tanan. That's what we learned in the Mishnah. The Mishnah says dinar. Rava and Amira is coming to tell me what it says in the Mishnah. You would just read the Mishnah. It says, if he ate it even a dinar, then he can't take back even the meyaman. Well, the Gemara says, I could have thought that really, even less than a dinar, he still can't take it. Even less than a dinar, he also can't take it back. Why do you say a dinar? Well, Orcha was just saying something that would be typical. But it wasn't coming to exclude anything. It was just giving me a typical example. So Kamash Malan, Rav is coming to tell me that the Mishnah is not just being typical, the Mishnah is being very precise. Now, There's a few questions, 3 questions. Achal Tanan, it says that he ate at the party. Shasamai, it doesn't say that he drank. What happens if he didn't eat? He just drank. Sometimes people that as non-committing to the sitting down at the party, they don't eat, they just drink. I'm not committed to this so much. What's going to be then? The question is he going to be allowed to, if the calls off the shidduch, to claim back all the gifts, saying, I didn't eat at the party, I only drank?
Depends. Did he gift the drinks?
He gave 100 mana.
And they bought from it.
It could be they bought, whatever it is. If he enjoyed that party, then he can't claim anything back. Saying he just drank. Hutanan, it says only that he was the one that ate. Shluchimai, let's say he sent someone there. He sent a messenger to go participate. Sent his brothers. Shamtanan, it says that at the party. Shagar loi mai, but let's say they sent him food from the party back to him. They packaged something up and they sent it out. Is it considered that he participated in it? Now he can't claim it back. Uber Eats. So Tashima, come and listen. Rav Yehuda says the name of Shmuel. Ma'aseh the Mechad, there's a story of a person, Sheshagala Beis Chomav, he sent to his in-laws, Meya Kerneshel Kadayayin, 100 wagons of barrels of wine, with jugs of wine, Shal Kadeshemen, and of oil. That was the typical food they would dip their bread in. Shal Kli Kesef, Shal Kli Zav, golden vessels, silver vessels, Shal Kli Melas, silk. Baracha b'simchase, and he's gladly riding on his horse, probably. And he goes to the entrance to his in-laws' house. And they bring him out a cup of hot drink, cup of coffee. B'shasa, he drank it, and he died. The Yarshim, his inheritors, are claiming all the we want it back, right? That's a lot of gifts for someone that didn't even make it to the wedding. So this halacha, Rab Acha Sar Habira brought it in front of the sages in Usha, and that's one of the places where the Sanhedrin went. When they said, things that are going to be consumed, you can't collect. But if it's not going to be consumed, then you govern that you can collect. So here we're talking about the food items you can't collect. The other items you can collect. Okay, but that would only be if he ate at the party, according to our Mishnah. When can you not collect the perishables, right? The perishables. When can you not claim the perishables? If he ate some of it. Okay, so here what happened? They gave him a cup of coffee. Here we see, first of all, that the drink is also considered that he enjoyed the party, even if there's just a drink. We see that even if he just drank. Then the Gemara says, even if it's less than a dinar. It wasn't from Starbucks. We see that even if it's a small Rav is a kashan Rava. Rava said when the Mishnah says that you have to have enjoyment of a dinar, that's when you can't claim back the perishables. Here they gave him just a hot drink. It's probably less than a dinar. Amar Ravashi. Ravashi says no. You're making an assumption here. They didn't have coffee. That's true.
Here it says,
oh, heated wine. Is that what it is? Is that what it says?
jars of wine.
He sent jars of wine, but
mulled wine.
Now, I also thought it was wine, but I wasn't sure where I saw that.
17.
Yeah. Yeah.
17.
So,
17, yeah.
Shalach leBischa. Yeah. Shiganami, Shari Shasik, Shari Urfnei Pesach, Obekais Chamin. I don't know. Okay, whatever. So, morning. So we see less than a dinar is also good. So Rav Ashi says, no, you're making an assumption here. Man leimalam bleishachli marganisa the shalfa al bizuzi b'shake b'ashke. There's a type of mashka where they take like gold things and the gold dust, they put it in it. You know what it is? There's a
Moonshine.
I've seen it these days.
anyway, it could be
Box.
what is it?
Moonshine. They have.
They have such a
I've
thing.
seen
Anyway, this is saying where they take a pearl, they crush it up and they put it into
These days
The-
they put it on steaks too. Gold steaks, gold plated.
milk gold.
yeah. So
Actually, my wife makes cakes. They have this real gold that's edible.
oh, really?
Gold flakes.
So they put this gold in the thing. You basically asking a kasha that you see over here that even if you had less than a dinar, you still can you can't claim back. How do you know it was less than a dinar? It could be the drink that they gave him had this golden this crushed pearls in it, right?
Starbucks cup.
It was the Starbucks coffee. It says, right? They changed the name.
I'm trying to understand the chiddush here. I guess the chiddush is he sent this gift and they made a kinyan on it. And yet he can take it back under certain circumstances.
Yeah.
Is that the chiddush?
Yeah, we've been learning about like the kedushin money itself. We made a decree about that. We're not going to take that back because that's going to look like maybe she doesn't need a get or something like that. It can marry this, that we're not going to do. But what about all the gifts that went in this betrothal that never made it to the end?
Yeah.
We're saying that the gifts come back. Definitely, the non-perishable gifts are coming back. What about the perishable gifts? Can he show up and say, you know, all the fruit platters and all of that? He wants to take it back. Called the wedding off. He wants to take the fruit platters back. So they say, well, one second, if you ate already from it, then you can't. But if it's all still like, you know, he wasn't involved, so then he can take it back. That's what we're learning. And how much did he have to eat? So Rabbi says a dinar. So what if he drank? Here we're saying, well, he drank something, right? And he still can't take it back.
So the gifts, except for the perishable, they're really kind of conditional gifts.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
That's
gifts, unless the wedding gets called off.
Yeah.
Or I guess if she dies, it's the same thing.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think that's typical as well. If there is an engagement that's broken, I think they return the jewelry gifts that they would return, and they argue over everything else. They have to, yeah.
Can they keep the jewelry? Explain.
No, they
Okay.
give it back. If it's if it wasn't, it was just engagement.
But here's what's wrong.
This is a betrothal. Yeah. Okay. Shamet Mina, we learned from this also. I feel like you see, he didn't even go inside. He was riding his horse. They sent it out to him. He's drank it on his horse. He collapsed over there. See, we had three questions. One question was if he only drank. One is if he sent the shliach. Another was if they sent the food to him. So we have an answer to number one and number three. The Gemara says, no. He made it to the entrance. He was already in the driveway. That's good enough. Doesn't have to go inside. You don't have a raya. If they sent it packaged up to his house, what would be? That was our question. You don't have a raya that this is counted because he was standing outside. That's good enough. Sometimes there's a party that overflows outside.
So the document, the Tanayim, doesn't cover this at all, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it seems like that's where you deal with this.
Right. These are the rules that would go behind that document. You know, these would be the laws that would qualify, like what are the limits of that document? What happens if it doesn't happen? The document just says that you're going to pay for this, you're going to pay for this, you're going to show up.
But now it turns out there are other rules besides those.
There are rules that go behind that. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a question. Okay, there's two ways of reading this following Gemara. Rabbeinu Chananel, which I don't have on the side of my Gemara, but the Rashbam quotes it. He reads the following Gemara like this. We'll read it two ways. It says, Mao sheyishalesh sivlinus. He drops the word shvach. And his question is, let's say, according to Rava, you can claim back all of the perishables, all of those gifts, if you didn't eat a dinar's worth. That's what Rava was saying. Now the Gemara is suggesting that, let's say you didn't eat a dinar, but you ate less than a dinar. So can you now say that I'm going to claim back in proportion to that dinar? How much can I claim back? If I ate a third of a dinar, can I claim back 2/3 of the items? No, the third that I ate, I can't claim back because that was part. But the 2/3. So this is according to Rabbeinu Chananel, that's his pshat. That's his pshat. That's what Gemara says. The other pshat here is that Moshe Yishalim instead of Sheyishalish. Moshe Yishalim Shvach Sivlinus. What about if they took the items that they got as gifts, and something came from it, some improvements? For example, let's say you gave them some sheep, and they gave birth. Who does it belong to? So we're talking about when he's calling off the shidduch, calling off the betrothal. Kivan the Isnu Lidi De Hadri, since if he didn't participate in the party, he would be able to get it back. So therefore, these improvements were improvements from his own property, so they belong to him. We can look at it differently. You can say Kivan the Yavdi I Migdavi by Shlumilai, which is the Didash Shavuach. If if it got lost or it got stolen, they would have to pay for it. Now, if they have to pay for it, how do they pay for it? They pay for it as it was at the time that it was given to them, which means, remember, like by a ganef, you pay it at the time that it was stolen, which means that if there's any improvements to it, it belongs to the guy. By that case was the ganef. Over here, it belongs to the family, belongs to the in-laws, not to the chassan, because they wouldn't have to pay that back if it was stolen. They would have to pay only the original, which means that all the improvements belong to them. So you have two things. If it's intact, he would take it back. That means it's his. If it wasn't intact, they would keep it. That means it's theirs. Unpaid watchmen. No, they have to pay for it. But they're not getting you're talking about it.
Yeah, members have paid.
Oh, I think it's more like they have to pay if it's lost or stolen, which means they're like paid watchmen. Right, that level. Okay, so Gemara says Teku. We don't know what's going to be with the improvements to the item. Okay, this is going to end up in Beston. Boy, Rava has a question. If there were items that were perishables, but they happen not to perish. So the perishables we're talking about, if you ate, you can't collect them, can't take them back. But let's say they didn't perish; they're still there. Ma, what's the din? Tashima, they had a freezer, right? Tashima, so come listen. This halacha Ravacha, the Sarabira, the minister of the palace, he came to the Chacham and Menusha, which is one of the places of the Sanhedrin. They said, they told him, perishables cannot be collected. Non-perishables can yes be collected. My love must be afagav the leibalo, even if it didn't perish. So they said perishables. Even if it didn't perish, it's still you still can't collect it. Gemara says lie, the bolo. Talking about when it's perished, when it rotted, when it was consumed or eaten or something. That's when you don't have to pay it back. But if it's still there, you don't have a raya for this. You're basically just quoting to me the question again, in like in an answer form. You didn't answer the question. That's what the Gemara is saying. He asked, it says you can't collect if it's perishables, you can't collect it. So he said, what about if it's perishables but it didn't perish? So they said perishables you can't collect. Probably even if it didn't perish, you can't collect. He's saying no, that's talking about perishables that perished, you can't collect, which means you can't like get the money for it. He would collect, he would say that I want it back because yeah, he says I invested money in this marriage and it's not working out. I was the one that paid for that party. Okay, so we don't have an answer yet. So Tashima, come and listen. Sablenus Muatim. If he gives small gifts to his in-laws that they should keep at their house, that they're going to use at their house. Now the Gemara is understanding that even if they didn't perish, he still doesn't claim them. They can't claim them. The Gemara says, Tirgama Rava says, that's not necessarily what's happening here. It could be B'yeva B'sav Chata, type of tichels, like little kerchiefs or something. How do they translate that? Caps and hairnets. These little things that he's not taking that back. That's basically, I think, what the rule is, that little small gifts don't go back. They give back the jewelry or whatever, it's complicated stuff. Hashem should protect us, right? But the small things they leave with the
people just throwing everything down.
right. Everything goes in the box and they put it on their porch. Okay.
The baby with the bathwater.
I'm gonna review the Marav. Yeah, I made a shidduch once that didn't work out, but the guy bought me a grill. So yeah, the grill. So after the whole shidduch, he came. He says, "Well, at least one thing came up from this, Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna review the.
He didn't ask for it back.
He didn't ask for it back. I was the shadchan. I wasn't really the shadchan. They ate at my house, 2 people, and they met, and they decided because they both ate at my house, they were gonna, that's where they met. So, okay.
They're sending you a message. You would have had better food.
I would have barbecued the meal. It would have, Story of a person. Sheshagala beischam of yayin chadash v'shemen chadash klipeshten chadash batzeres. There's a story of a person. This is Rabbi Yehuda saying in the name of Rav. That's the most common 5 words in Shas. I'm Rabbi Yehuda Merav. The story of a person that sent to his in-laws fresh wine, fresh oil, and fresh silk, fresh linen on Shavuos. The Gemara says, "My kamashman." What type of story is that? There's no punchline. And what happened? Right? That's not a story. The Gemara says, "No." You want, you could say Chashivus Eretz Yisrael kamashman. It's coming to tell us Eretz Yisrael was so rich, so chashuv, that even on Shavuos time they were already able to get fresh wine. Usually the wine is ready by Sukkot, not Shavuos. Here they're saying the fruits were so good that they were already ripe, and the oil was already ready by Shavuos. That's early season. It's okay. Or maybe
better if the wine sits.
No, it's better if it sits. But he's saying that he sent Shavuos fresh wine. So what's the story?
Ready by then.
What's the story? He's coming to tell us how great Eretz Yisrael is. Yibayasema could also be the Toin Tanasitaina. What's really happening here is that Rab's telling us a very interesting halacha. He's coming to Bezdin saying, "I want it all back." And they're saying, "What back?" They said, "I sent you the fresh wine." So how do you get fresh wine, Shavuos? It's obviously not true. They said, Rabbi Yehuda Merav says, no, It's not it could be his claim is a good claim because it's possible for that to happen. Yeah.
Eretz Yisrael.
In Eretz Yisrael, I guess. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav, another statement, another story. Ma'aseh b'adam echad shamar la. It's a story that there was a person that was betrothed. It could even be that he was married. Yeah. The Rashbam says later that he was actually married. He was married, but the marriage, I think, wasn't consummated. He took her into his wife. They told him that the wife was a ishtay tutranasi. Your wife can't smell. That's considered a mum shabaseser. It's a blemish that you can't see. Can't tell if she's. Is there a word for the doctor? For someone that can't smell?
Aflem v'lo
Anyway, that could be a problem when the food is burning.
That's what the nose.
So yeah,
COVID, yeah.
right. Yeah, like COVID. That's what you're saying. She had COVID. He went into the to a churba. It happened to be that he owned this churba. Churba is a ruins. He takes her in there to check to see if she can smell. He has a trick over here. Amar Allah, he says to her, it happened to be, it was right next to Gullah, the Galilee. And he says, I smell radishes. Now, there's different pshatim over here. One pshat is that he had a radish in his pocket, and he wants to see what she says. If she says, yeah, I smell it also. Other pshat is that he had in his pocket, he had a date in his pocket. And he says, I smell radishes. Now, she responds, Amalei, Man Yovli she gave an answer if he had a radish in his pocket. She gave like this non-committal answer, like it wasn't to this way or that way. He says, "Oh, if I could eat a date together with that would be great." Apparently, they would like to have sweet and sour together. It's like spicy dried mangoes, like that.
Dried mangoes.
They sell that actually. It's like sweet with like the sour. So it's I like to eat the radish with the date. Or it could be the pshat over here is that she actually smelt the date. Whatever the case is, nafala churva mesa. Right then, the ruins collapsed and she died. Well, apparently she had some money in there that the husband wants to inherit. Amru chachamim, the chacham say, "Hayal v'nichnach zachrel lebeitka in Mesa in Yasha." Since you weren't going in there as a yichud room, you weren't going in there as a marriage. Well, if you're learning that this was Erisin, which the Rashbam rejects, then we say this was not a chuppah. This was just a test. That's how the Rashbam says, not to say. Then he says that we're talking about that actually he was married. But listen to this. If a person is married but decides that he's going to divorce his wife, even before he gives her the divorce, he doesn't inherit her anymore. Yeah, that's what the Rashbam says. And that you see the skinny the skinny lines here towards the bottom of this Nafla Churva Mesa. The Rashbam says, "Mehacha shaminan." From here we learn if they're in a fight and he has in his mind to divorce her, shuv eina yarsha. He doesn't inherit her anymore. Who's to know about this?
What happened to working on the
neighbors.
It's because he thought about what if they work it out. They talk to that therapist,
Right. As he said, as the Gemara Gittin says, Mishnasnain of Ligarsha, Shuvain Labal Peris. He doesn't get to eat the fruits of her, what's it called, of the Nechse Malog.
Doesn't get to get back when he delivers.
Yeah, he's not divorced. Just when he has intention to divorce her. This is when it's probably what we would call when they separate.
It's because he's saying it was a mekach tayis. She has a moon.
Yeah.
To begin with, it wasn't a valid marriage.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess so.
people have all types of
Yeah.
feelings, like, you have to work on their marriages. Like, one day they feel, the next
Right.
day everything's okay. Like,
Right. Right. Yeah.
the whole idea was that she has a mom.
But it's not that just that she had a mom.
Wasn't disclosed.
He was suspecting her of the mom. We don't know that if she really had the mom, she died. She didn't. Either she gave a non-committal answer, or she.
So he didn't for sure want to divorce her because by the end of the day she said I want
You're
to
right, but
date.
we're saying that's enough. It's very surprising, no? Yeah, Rabbi Tam says that it's talking about a betrothed woman.
Why would he inherit her even if she?
The question is,
Maybe
when
they
they
didn't
went
want-
into the churba, that could be, since he owned it, that could be like his chuppah. When he brings her into the house, that's a chuppah, and that would be considered a nesuin. Need Adam outside. Guess that would be a detail here that wasn't mentioned.
You think what happened? They get married and they just don't go home.
Yeah,
Like a
but the
home.
chuppah at the marriage is considered the
Oh.
nesuin. There's different opinions. What's the nesuin? It could be the yichud room. It could be the hotel. It could be whatever. Going home. There's different. Okay. Savlinus Moatin, Shetishtam from basically, if he sends small gifts that she should use at her father's house and not bring back, then he doesn't claim that. Yosef Ravin Saba Kamei Rav Papa Yosef Kamar. Ravin the elder is sitting in front of Rav Papa, and he's saying, Ben Shemesahi, whether she dies, Ben Shemesu, whether she dies, whether he dies, Hadarhu, or whether he just says, I want a divorce. Sivlinus Hadri, the gifts get returned. But the food, that doesn't get returned if he ate over there, it's added, he ate it, Okay. Hadraba what happened if she says, I want out? If she says, I want to get out of this betrothal, then Hadra Filukisha Diyarka, then she has to return even the what's the kisha? It's part of a vegetable. Does it say over there? A bunch of vegetables. Okay, you have to return everything if she wants out. It's only when do we leave the food? That's only if he's reneging. Okay. When you have to return that food, so you don't return it at its full price. You return it at the cheap price, at the Walmart restaurant depot price. Ad kama bezol, what is the how much is the cheaper price? Ad tilsa, it's a third less than the actual price.
Aldi is cheap.
Aldi's. Okay. Okay, there's a new Mishnah here, and it's sort of switching topics. This is something we've been talking about a lot, and we've always been quoting this, but now we have the Mishnah that says it outright. This is Kuf Mem Vav Hamabes. There's a person on his deathbed that writes all his possessions over to someone else, Shir Karka Kolshu, but he leaves over one piece of property. Matnase Kayemes, and even if he comes back, he gets his health back. So it's already considered a good gift. It's considered a good gift because he was giving it even if he wasn't going. The reason why he kept over the karka was because if he should get his health back, he should still have what to live off. So that we say that the gift is still good. Loishia karka kolshu. If he didn't leave anything over, so then matnasa ain matnasa kayamas, and it's not a good gift if he gets his health back, because we go after what's called an umdana, an assumption that we'll assume that the only reason why he gave it was because he thought he was dying. If he doesn't end up dying, he takes it back.
But he reserves for himself if he gets better.
Right.
Because why else?
Right. So if he reserved for himself a piece of property, so then if he gets better, then the gift that he gave is still considered a gift.
Oh, the gift portion.
Yeah, because he knew already that he may get better, and he kept it. He kept the piece of property.
Right. Okay.
But if he gave away everything, then we say that that's because he was sure he was going to die, but he didn't actually die. So then he gets it back. Okay. Man Tana does lean Basra Daf. Who is the Tana that says that you follow these assumptions? I'm Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman says Rav Shimon ben Menashe. It's the opinion of Rav Shimon ben Menashe. Tani was starting a brisa. It's a person. His son went on a trip. And the word got back that his son died. He doesn't have any inheritors. So Amar v'kasav kol nechasav lacha. He wrote over all of his possessions to someone else, to this caretaker. And then his son shows up. Son's still there. Well, matnasi matana. They say over here that it's still a good gift. That's the first opinion, the Tanakama. Reb Shimon ben Menashe, Reb Shimon ben Menashe say matnasi matana. No, it's not a good gift. He only gave it because he thought he didn't have an inheritor, but his son was really alive.
What does it mean he gave it? He put it in his will? Said when I pass away, I'll
Yeah.
give it, or he gave it now?
Yeah, no, he as a matnash chemira that you take it afterwards.
The father was a shchimera?
That's what it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah.
If he would know, if only he would know that his son was alive, he never would have wrote it. So that's the opinion of Rav Shimon ben Menashe. Rav Sheshes says Shimon Shazuri. It's Rav Shimon Shazuri. Tani was starting Brisa B'Rishaynu. Someone that's being taken out with a collar. That means he's being taken because he's in prison, been taken out to be killed. He didn't want his wife to have to marry his brother that was maybe just born, that wait 13 years for Yibam. So he says, write a get to my wife. He didn't say give it, he just said write. You're already allowed to give it, even though normally you have to give the full instructions. But over here we understand what he means. Then they said, also someone that's taking a trip on a caravan, it's about to miss the plane, miss the boat. So he says the same thing, write a get to my wife. So we also give the get as well, besides just writing it. Reb Shimon Shazuri Amar, Afamasukin, Reb Shimon Shazuri says, even if he's sick and he's worried about his wife having to marry the Yavam. The Gemara asks, Reb Nachman, my time in the Mukam, like Reb Shimon Shazuri. Over there, we're also following an assumption, an umdana, of what he meant. Why did Reb Nachman not say, like Reb Sheshes? Right? Who was it? Reb Sheshes that says, Reb Shimon Shazuri. So the Gemara says, Shani Hasam Damar Kisfu. Over there, it's not just a regular umdana. Over there, he wrote, we know he wants to divorce his wife. He said, write the get. If that's not enough, then what is? The Reb Sheshes, my time Reb Shimon Menashe. Why didn't Reb Sheshes say that we go after the umdana? But he says umdana the muchach shiny. Over there, it was so obvious that over there we're going to follow an umdana because he gave everything to someone else, not to his son, and it was clear that's because he thought his son was dead. But if it's another type of umdana, that we wouldn't know.
Well, that he's wearing a collar, that means he's a slave?
I think it means he's being taken out to be killed. Yeah, it was a yetzi b'koiler, like some sort of like chain that they had around his neck, or maybe around his foot. I don't know. Koiler. I think I'm assuming because it sounds like collar. It's a collar. What do they have in the Quran would explain it? An iron collar. Okay, let's leave it over here. Okay. Have a good day, everyone.